Have you ever noticed that the thing you keep putting off is usually not small? It's not random. It is usually the conversation you don't want to have, the risk you don't want to take, the habit you don't want to confront, the step you know you need to take, but you keep finding a reason to delay. And the dangerous part is not always the obstacle itself. The dangerous part is what happens to you while you keep avoiding it. Because every time you run from the thing you know you need to face, something happens inside you. Your confidence shrinks, your excuses grow, your fear gets fed, and the thing you avoid yesterday starts to feel even bigger today. That is why the thing you keep avoiding might be the very thing that could change your life. In 1 Samuel 17, the army of Israel is standing on one side of the valley and the Philistines are on the other side. And every day, this giant named Goliath comes out. He's massive, he's intimidating, he's loud, he is experienced. And for 40 days, he keeps stepping forward and daring someone to fight him. And nobody moves. Not because they did not see the giant, because they did. Not because they did not know he was there. Oh, they knew he was there. The issue was not awareness. The issue was perspective. They saw the giant and thought, he's too big. This is impossible. This is dangerous. Step back. Then a young man named David shows up. And David sees the same giant. He hears the same threats, looks at the same battlefield, and yet frames it completely different. That matters because the giant did not change. The battlefield did not change. The threat did not change. What changed was the frame. Everybody else saw an obstacle. David saw an opportunity for God to show his power. Everybody else saw reason to retreat. David saw a moment to step forward. Everyone else let the size of the giant shape their response. David let the size of God shape his response, and that is the difference. The same giant that paralyzed one group activated another man's faith. That is why this matters so much for your life, because many people are waiting for the obstacle to shrink before they move. But growth usually does not happen that way. Confidence does not usually come before obedience. Clarity does not usually come before movement. Strength does not usually come before resistance. A lot of the time, the thing you're asking God to remove is the very thing used to develop you. The conversation you keep avoiding, it may be the thing that teaches you courage. The responsibility you keep dodging may be the thing that builds your discipline. The risk you keep postponing may be the thing that unlocks the next level. The hard thing is not always blocking the path. Sometimes it is the path. And this is where people lose years of their lives because they keep asking, how do I get around this? How do I get around the pressure? How do I get around the discomfort? How do I get around the fear? How do I get around the hard conversation? How do I get around the hard work? But the better question is this: what does facing this unlock in me? Because sometimes the giant is not just standing in front of your progress. Sometimes the giant is exposing what still needs to grow in you. Maybe it is exposing your fear of rejection. Maybe it's exposing your dependence on comfort, or maybe it's exposing that you want the result without the process. Maybe it's exposing how much power avoidance has over your life. And that is why this message is bigger than David and Goliath. This is about a pattern of avoidance. Most people do not fail because they're incapable. They fail because they keep backing away from the very place growth is waiting on them. They wait too long to start. They delay the thing they know they need to do. They overthink instead of act. They pray for the breakthrough, but avoid the battle connected to it. And every day they avoid it, the giant grows in their mind. That is what fear does. Fear magnifies what you refuse to face. But action does something different. Action changes the frame. Once David moved, everything changed. Not because Goliath got smaller, because obedience broke the paralysis. That is the principle. The thing you avoid gains power over you. The thing you face begins to lose power over you. Read that in your own life. The call you keep avoiding, the apology you need to make, the business you need to start, the addiction you need to confront, the application that you need to send, the workout you keep putting off, the decision you know you need to make. What if the thing you labeled as the problem is actually the doorway? What if beating this does more than solve one issue? What if it builds a new version of you? Because when you face the giant, yes, you may win the battle, but you also become someone different. You become someone who moves, someone who trusts God, someone who stops negotiating with fear, someone who does hard things, someone who's no longer ruled by avoidance. That is why this matters. This is not just about beating one problem. This is about becoming the kind of person who no longer runs from the battle that is attached to growth. So here's the one thing I want you to do. Not 5 things, just one thing. Within the next 24 hours, take one concrete action toward the thing you have been avoiding. One action. Not the whole plan, not the whole victory, not the whole mountain. One move. If it's a conversation, send the text. If it's your health, start the workout. If it's the business, make the call. If it's healing, schedule the appointment. If it's the dream, open the document and begin. Because the goal is not to slay the entire giant in one day. The goal is to break the cycle of avoidance. That is the first victory. And once you do that, something shifts. You stop feeling trapped. You stop feeding fear. You stop giving excuses the final word. And you start becoming the person your future requires. So stop asking, how do I get around this? And start asking, what does facing this unlock in me? Because the thing you keep avoiding might be the very thing that changes your life. And the giant in front of you may not be there to stop you. It may be there to reveal who you can become when you finally stop running. So here's the question. What have you been avoiding? Put it in the comments. Then within the next 24 hours, take one concrete action toward it, because that is how giants fall. Not when you keep staring at them, when you step forward. And if you want to build the kind of discipline that actually changes your life, watch the next video on your screen.